What high school doesn't teach about becoming a millionaire? Your 20s are the most important time of your life. One of the first questions I get from my financial literacy students is how they can become a millionaire. I smile and ask them why they want to do that. Unlike most personal finance YouTubers and articles, they don't say it's because they want freedom. They say it's because they want to spend it. They want to buy a mansion, or an expensive car, like a Dodge Challenger, specifically the Hellcat. I tell them that becoming a millionaire and staying a millionaire are two different things. Which one do you want? I ask. They look at me, dumbfounded. They never realize there's a difference between the two. Becoming a millionaire is easy. Staying a millionaire is difficult, which is why as a young adult, you must be mindful of the decisions you make if you want to become a millionaire. Don't blow your first paycheck. When I received my first paycheck of over $3,000 working as a teacher back in 2016, I decided to buy things I could never afford before, like an iPad Pro and a brand new car. It wasn't until after I made those purchases that I realized I was making stupid decisions. After I blew my first paycheck, it became difficult to avoid doing so with future paychecks, because lifestyle inflation became a habit for me. Lifestyle inflation is very dangerous. Just because you make a higher income does not mean your expenses should go up as well. If you're on the road to becoming a millionaire, discipline is important. Without discipline, you will not become or stay a millionaire. Most millionaires don't blow their paychecks on luxuries. They buy ingredients to make coffee at home, not Starbucks. They buy groceries to cook at home and don't spend on restaurants. They buy used cars, not brand new sports cars. Most millionaires are disciplined enough not to blow their paychecks to look rich because they'd rather be rich. This is why most lottery winners go broke. They lack the discipline to budget or save their money for the future. They buy everything on impulse without realizing that the money they received is a one-time thing and the odds of winning the lottery again are near zero. It's only once they've spent all their winnings that they realize they should have budgeted their money. By then, it's too late. This is why you need to save your first paycheck. You have to maintain the same budget as before you got your job if you expect to build your net worth and become a millionaire one day. Whenever you make a higher income, don't go out looking for a nicer apartment or house. Don't look for a new car. And don't go out to eat more frequently. Because if you do, you'll prevent yourself from reaching millionaire status. Don't have kids until your late 20s. One of the first mistakes young adults make on the road to becoming a millionaire is having kids at a young age. In the US, it costs roughly $300,000 to raise a Gen Z child from age 0 to 18. $300,000. If you have children at a young age, that's money you will not contribute to your net worth because you thought you met the love of your life in high school. As of 2019, roughly 5% of teens between the ages of 15 and 19 become pregnant. Fortunately, that number has been on a downtrend. Unfortunately, that number is still seen as high compared to other countries. Not only does having a child at a young age prevent you from accumulating money, but it also prevents you from having freedom. When I traveled to Italy before the pandemic, I scheduled walking tours to get to know the big cities. While in Rome, I realized most of the English-speaking American tourists were people of retirement age who struggled to keep up with the tour guide. When I asked a few of the couples how frequently they traveled, they said they didn't start traveling until after their kids were adults and moved out of the house. Now that they weren't responsible for kids, they felt they had the freedom to travel to other countries and enjoy the scenery. Unfortunately for them, they struggled to keep up with the tour guides because they didn't have the energy they had when they were in their 20s. Having kids prevents you from traveling and enjoying your freedom because you lack the time because your priority is your child. You lack the funds because raising a child costs roughly $16,000 a year when looking at that whopping $300,000 per child. By the time you finally gain the freedom to travel, you're already in your 40s, assuming you had a child in your early 20s. You don't know what your health will look like in your 40s. A study done by the Washington School of Medicine found that women who waited until their late 20s, or even their early 30s, made significantly more money in their 40s compared to those who had children in their early 20s or teenage years, regardless of whether the person had a college education. For some women, the difference between having a child at 18 versus having a child at 28 could be a difference of up to $1 million. In those 10 years, you'd be paying $16,000 a year to raise one child. If you wait, that money could be invested into the stock market instead. Not to mention the promotions, career changes, and higher incomes you'll receive from waiting to have a child until 28. You should wait to have kids until your late 20s. Doing so could lead to becoming a millionaire much sooner than having kids at a younger age. Don't overwork yourself. There's a famous saying from some book somewhere that brings up a strong question. Would you trade lives with a 90-year-old billionaire? You'd have all the money in the world and the rest of your life to spend it. But you wouldn't have your youth. Your 20s are the best time to accumulate money and take the biggest risks. Some people believe that hustling at a job that pays minimum wage is the right way to go. I've seen students working as many hours as they could at a fast food restaurant, not thinking about the fact that they're overworking themselves. Even for adults, working 40 hours or more at a minimum wage job is not the way to make a living. Working 20 hours at a Starbucks, where you can make $15 an hour, is a much smarter decision than working at a fast food restaurant for 40 hours making $8 an hour. Why? Because you save 20 hours of time you can't get back. There is no point in hustling at a job that pays minimum wage, since doing so only leads to exhaustion. You don't get paid more for working harder than everyone else. The only reason you should hustle while working at McDonald's is if you see yourself becoming the manager there in a few years. If you have no intention of standing out in the hopes of being promoted there, look for a job where you do want to be promoted while putting minimal effort into the one you have. Let's say you put in 20 hours a week while working somewhere that pays you $8 an hour. Instead of working extra hours to make more money, put those hours into applying for higher paying jobs elsewhere. Imagine after 6 months, you end up getting a job that pays you $15 an hour. You're still working 20 hours a week, but making almost double the income. Now, repeat the process. Because working 40 hours a week at $8 an hour is not worth it, but $30, $50, or even $100 an hour is. Most millionaires value education, not school. Most people don't know the difference between education and schooling. The difference between the two is that schooling refers to public school, as in pre-K to 12th grade. Education is what you learn along the way. That's why millionaires read lots of books. They focus their energy on reading non-fiction books that will teach them something they can apply to their job. If you want to become a millionaire, read lots of books that talk about how to do it. Teach yourself everything there is to know about becoming a millionaire. For example, I've read the following books. Millionaire Teacher, The 9 Rules of Wealth You Should Have Learned in School. The Psychology of Money, Timeless Lessons on Wealth, Greed, and Happiness. The Millionaire Fastlane, Crack the Code to Wealth and Live Rich for a Lifetime. Financial Freedom, A Proven Path to All the Money You Will Ever Need. Financial Feminist, Overcome the Patriarchy's Bullsh*t to Master Your Money and Build a Life You, That's what makes it so easy for me to write articles like this. I've become an expert on personal financial literacy because I've read and continue to read about the topic. If your goal is to become a millionaire, read what others have done. Then, go and make the journey your own. Conclusion. These are some of the things high school should have taught you about becoming a millionaire. Don't blow your money and spend more than you earn. Don't make large purchases, like a house, car, or kids. Don't hustle at a minimum wage job. And focus on educating yourself. School won't teach you everything you need to know. Only by starting your journey to becoming a millionaire will you achieve your goal. And that's only possible if you focus your mindset on not only becoming but also staying a millionaire.